Hey guys, so I want to make a quick video. I was just sitting down eating, and I something came to mind, and I feel that now I know I don't have a huge following, but I feel that there might be a few of you on here who may be on the fence, haven't definitely decided that semen retention is for you. Now, that I can honestly say personally that it was the best decision I ever made to commit wholeheartedly to this semen retention journey. And even just after a year, you can tell from my own personal testimony, go back and watch some of my first videos, how, I personally evolved. And it's not about me, but really it's about putting myself out there and showing the world, hey, uh, not only can I do this, but you can do it too. Like I said in my last video, whatever I can do, you can do. And that being said, I want to make this video because, you know, there's a lot of personal testimonies on YouTube, and they're really all conveying the same story with different verbatim, different language, different words. Everybody has their own unique way of expressing the same truths. And from what I've observed, all the channels, all the people on here that are putting themselves out there personally really have a lot of valuable insights to communicate from their own personal journey. And of course, we're all essentially telling the same story about our life energy, our life essence, of which semen is. It's a tangible, physical, gross manifestation of the unseen power, the unseen energy. It's a pretty vague word, energy, right? Because it can mean many different things. But, essentially it's our life essence. So it's what brings us into this world. One semen cell we all came from one semen cell, right? So just think about that. Think about the power in that. It is life. Everything around us is life. It's all one life. It's a collective whole. We're all a part of the same life. We're all individualizations of the same consciousness. We could say the universal mind. And thus, everything reflected back to us is not only an extension of ourselves, but it essentially is ourselves. There's that fundamental sense of unity, of oneness and wholeness. And as you retain on your semen retention journey, once you commit wholeheartedly, that's funny. I'm going to pick on myself a little bit, and then we'll go back to what I was just saying. But when I was a little kid, I used to have trouble pronouncing R's. Like, I actually went to speech therapy because I had trouble, like, pronouncing R words. And I noticed on a couple of videos, too, I stumble on certain words. It's just like, we all have that. I was actually writing earlier today. Again, not to make it about me, just speak an example as they come to my head. But I was writing about how we all have access to that inner child. And, some of us know it, they feel it, but we might not feel confident or comfortable expressing it to the world. So I guess this serves as that too. Like, hey, whatever I can do, you can do. I'm putting myself out there, you can too. I used to be insecure about that. Definitely didn't have the confidence that I have now as a result of committing to the journey. Now going back to what I was saying, like I said I would, remember, once you commit wholeheartedly, I didn't stumble that time, to the semen retention journey, first of all, you're not going to be reactive to the world like that car that just drove by. There's not going to be stuff that breaks your flow. You're just naturally going to be perpetually in a flow state, a non-resistant state, and nothing in the world can resist a non-resistant person. You're going to be very lighthearted and flow-based, and whatever vision you commit to, whatever your intention is or your purpose is that you discover within. Now, that's important. At the distinction between discover and decide. Not deciding upon what the world tells you you should be, but really going within, digging deep, and discovering. And you're going to be flow based on that journey to realizing your vision, your immaculate conception. And everything happens of its own. There's no forcing. People show up in unexpectedly, in unexpected ways. Things just seem to happen and unfold for you, and it all unfolds beautifully and harmoniously. And you'll realize that as you, when you, not if, when you, for those on the fence, you know, I'm hoping this is convincing. I'm not trying to convince you. It's ultimately your choice. But, you know, I know what it's done for me, and I know the potential it has for everybody else who has the potential to commit to the journey. So I speak on this from that place, knowing what it's done for me, and honestly wanting to share that so that, you know, you can benefit from it too when you commit to the journey. You'll notice a difference. Even give it 90 days and you'll feel so good that you're like, man, you feel, this is what I've been missing. That's what I felt, at least. And then after about a year, something will click. There'll be like a light that guides you and shows you what to do. And there won't be any more feelings of searching or feeling like you need something outside of yourself, because you'll feel whole and complete within. And that's essentially what a holy person means, right? It means being whole. It not really needing anything of this world, because you're completely content with living your daily life, doing what you need to do on the way to your vision, doing what's needed and useful, not confusing busy work as accomplishment. What I refer to that as is busy work masquerading as accomplishment. You'll naturally do what's needed and useful, the highest and best use activities on the way to realizing your vision. And you'll get so much joy from doing the activities themselves. Like for me, it's writing or making these videos or whatever it is that it may be for you and your purpose. The activity itself is so intrinsically rewarding that you're kind of detached from the result. The result, it's like you're surrendered. It's like, it's okay if it happens. It's okay if it doesn't happen. Of course, you know in your heart it's going to happen, because the heart knows. The mind might overthink. And that's another thing. When you commit to the semen retention journey, there's going to be no overthinking. Distractions, confusion, fear, doubt, indecision, that's automatically excluded out of consciousness, because you're thinking from the heart space. So you're naturally at a higher level of consciousness. You have more energy within you, more vitality, and that expresses in your work, whatever you do, that manifest as you show up every day, that manifest in your craft, whatever you want to create, bring forth and manifest to benefit others and to contribute to the world and to leave something behind. You know, we all come here. It's like, what I like to think about is going on a trail. You know, sometimes you see those signs, leave nothing behind. It's like I go on a hike and it's like I was never there, because I'm not littering. I'm not, you know, but of course energy is there. Kind of leave that energetic imprint, right? I was also writing about that. A lot of people come into this world and they go, and what have they left behind? Other than their reproduction, other than their children, you know? So we really want to think about how beyond ourselves, and semen retention will help you do that. It's going to force you to evolve. Your energy is going to move up from those lower centers and into the higher realms. And, you know, a lot of people may still think that, you know, chakras and talking about energy bodies and whatever the lingo may be to point to something beyond this physicality, right? We don't want to get hung up on the words, chakras, energy bodies, uh, what whatever is pointing to something that is unseen. We don't want to get hung up on the words, because a lot of people might write it off and say, "Oh, this guy's talking a bunch of new age hocus pocus uh, stuff that it's." But we really want to understand that, kind of think beyond biases and realize our own prejudices, and not get not shun away something just because a certain word is said that might stimulate something in our head that we might have maybe some inaccurate beliefs on. And that's okay. I know I did at one point. Like I said in the last video, I had to sort through a lot of unproductive and detrimental programming, negative programming. And like I said, semen retention is going to help you evolve. It really is. And it's going to expedite your spiritual process exponentially. Exponentially. Especially for you young guys out there. I mean, it's really going to help anybody at any age. Like in the book Think and Grow Rich, saying that a lot of guys don't realize worldly success until after they're 40, because they spend their younger years in pursuit of chasing tail, distracted by women, and then after their hormones kind of stabilize, and they're in their 40s, they start to transmute that energy in other directions. But for those young guys that learn to transmute this energy at a younger age, you're just going to have more and more vitality, because it just keeps on building and there's no end to it. So yeah, it is very powerful. We don't want our hormones to hijack our intelligence. I know they did for me at one point. When I was thinking in my little head, I was thinking with the lower centers. There's a lot of some of these kind of what may seemingly be superficial cliches are very deep. Think with your big head instead of your little one. What does that mean? Think with your higher self, your higher intelligence, these higher energy centers, rather than your lower self, your ego self. Think with your higher self. It's not just, I was writing a description the other day on one of my other videos about the difference between the higher self and the lower self. And then I was thinking, Alan Watts said one time about the biggest ego trip going is those people trying to get rid of their lower self. And of course he said that kind of cunningly, because he probably knew, there is a distinction, but the point is that the person that's trying to get rid of their lower self is the lower self. How do you get rid of something that doesn't exist? The ego doesn't exist, but at the same time, it kind of does. And I speak on this because I know it does, because I used to be very driven from the lower self. What is my motivation? That's another thing. Committing to the semen retention journey is really going to, like I said, force you to evolve, and you're going to learn to love your own subjectivity, the inner realms. You're going to become your own best friend. And like I said, you're not going to need anything outside of you to feel whole and complete. And you're really going to delve deep in your own psychological process. You can call that metaphysics, metacognition, being aware of your own thought process. And thus, you're going to be able to relate everything to your vision, whatever that is. I call it my definite chief aim. Now, I'll mention in the book again, Think and Grow Rich. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And I'll get back to that in a second, because something just came to mind that I want to mention. Actually, in one of my other videos, value your vitality, value your life energy. I'll put a link in the description. It's funny, talking about photographic memory. It's something I was going to mention in that video, the value of vitality. I got off on a tangent, and I didn't remember to loop back to it. And it just came to mind now. It's crazy how it works sometimes. But yeah, so Think and Grow Rich, that book. One time I was in the airport, and this lady, like very professional, had a briefcase, very, I wouldn't say dolled up, because it was professional. She was very professional. You just got that vibe looking at her. And I was in a corner. I was doing my own thing. Off kind of with the vibe like, leave me alone sort of thing. But I was sitting there reading the book Think and Grow Rich, and it's a vibrant orange cover, so you can see it from a mile away. So I'm sitting in the corner and reading that book, and she came over, and she said a couple words. I'm not gonna repeat it verbatim because I don't exactly remember what she said. Of course, if I gave it some thought, I probably could. But just speaking off the cuff now, she basically said, read the chapter on definite chief aim, and create a definite chief aim, and stick to it. And she left. She didn't really even wait to hear what I had to say or my response. She just wanted to say that, and she went on. Obviously, she had stuff to do. Like I said, very professional, high-value woman. So she said that, and it really stuck with me. So what did I do? Like, wow, this is a synchronicity. I recognized it then. And I wrote down my definite chief aim. And of course, I've revised it since then, and refined it since then. And it's constantly changing. Your values and motivations are going to change. And that's okay. It's all part of the spiritual process, the evolution process. And like I said, you're going to fall in love with your own subjectivity. You're going to really learn to love the journey and see that it is a joyous process. Like I said, the work itself is going to be intrinsically rewarding. You're going to find joy showing up every day and working. And like I said, be your own best friend. Not to, repeat myself, but repetition is great. Especially audio affirmations. Like I was just saying, the definite chief aim. Record yourself. Everybody has a phone nowadays. You have a phone, you're watching this, you're probably watching this on your phone. You might be watching it on a laptop, whatever. But whatever the case, you probably have a phone. So take advantage of that. Use these tools to our advantage. We don't have to be a slave to the phone. We can use technology consciously and intentionally with purpose, and use it as a tool to manifest what we want to see and bring forth in the world. So use an audio app. Record your definite chief aim and listen to that. Program your subconscious mind. That's some of the most valuable information we can come across, that I've come across, is learning how to reprogram my subconscious mind. Clearing out those negative beliefs, that programming that we may have picked up from our schooling or environments or whatever it may be, so that we can live and vibrate and operate more harmoniously and more joyously, more vibrantly, and more abundantly. And as we protect and embody and value our life essence and live from a heart space, live wholeheartedly, commit wholeheartedly to the semen retention journey, or whatever it may be, whatever your spiritual discipline is. I just know how profound this is, based on my own experience and listening and to that of others that have put themselves out there. So, I say this from that space, and I really hope that you commit to it. And, if you do, and when you do, come back and comment. Being like, hey, man, I watched this video, it really resonated, and, stuck with me, something you said, whatever it may be, and comment and say, hey, you helped me. Because I've certainly commented on a lot of videos saying that, like, man, this really, even sometimes all it takes is just one thing, one concept, to be like, wow, something clicks. And, that's my purpose. Saying something that, potentially can stimulate that light bulb in somebody's head. That light bulb goes off like, wow, like this. I put all these different I was just missing that one piece of the puzzle, and now it seems to, that the light bulb went off. So, I know that I've heard a lot of different things on channels that have been like, wow, like that little piece of information was just, that's what I needed to see. So, hopefully this is of some value for you, and something that I had to say today you find value in. So, anyways, I'm gonna cut it off now. Take care, guys. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one.